Do you know about this case? February 1989. A bizarre death incident that shook all of Japan, one that was simply too inexplicable. This case begins under circumstances unimaginable by common sense. A man's body was discovered inside the septic tank of a woman's home, a traditional pit toilet. The police initially concluded this case was an accidental death. But was it truly an accident? Or was there a far more terrifying truth buried in the darkness? In this video, we'll introduce the full scope of this perplexing incident, examine the many lingering questions, and explore the various theories that have continued to circulate. The incident occurred on February 28, 1989, at a teacher's residence in Fukushima Prefecture, Japan. Ms. Ako, then a 23-year-old female teacher working at an elementary school, returned home and entered her pit toilet. There, she noticed what looked like a man's shoe at the bottom of the toilet bowl. Feeling uneasy, Ms. Ako nervously went to check the outdoor cleanout port. She found the lid, which was normally closed, open, and when she peered inside, she saw a man's feet. Ms. Ako frantically called the police. Officers and firefighters quickly arrived at the scene and, upon investigation, discovered a man's body inside the septic tank. The police and firefighters attempted to retrieve the man's body from the tank, but it was tightly wedged in the narrow space and couldn't be pulled out, no matter how hard they tried. Ultimately, an extraordinary measure was taken. A civil engineering company was called in, and heavy machinery was used to dismantle the toilet tank, finally allowing the body to be retrieved. The recovered body was covered in human waste. It was immediately rinsed with water on the spot, then washed again at the fire station's headquarters. Despite it being the middle of winter, the body was naked from the waist up, clutching what appeared to be its clothes to its chest, knees bent, and face tilted slightly to the left in an unusual posture, stiff with rigor mortis. It's said that the gruesome sight made even the witnesses turn their faces away. The circumstances of this discovery were highly abnormal, depicting a death that could hardly be explained as a mere accident, causing strong shock and distrust among those involved and the local residents. Subsequently, a police investigation identified the body as Mr. S., a 26-year-old man living in the same village as Ms. Ako. Mr. S. lived with his parents and grandmother, a family of 4, and was acquainted with Ms. Ako, the discoverer. He worked as a sales manager at a nuclear power plant in a neighboring town and was also a central figure as the recreation director of the village's youth association, reportedly a highly respected individual in the community. The autopsy revealed only minor abrasions on his elbows and knees, with no significant external injuries or signs of struggle. The cause of death was determined to be freezing combined with circulatory failure in the chest. This view suggested he died from hypothermia due to the freezing temperatures and chest compression in the confined space. Based on this, the police concluded that Mr. S. had entered the septic tank with the intent to peep, but got stuck in the narrow space and died, classifying it as an accidental death. The estimated time of death was announced as around February 26, 2 days before the discovery. However, the question of why a respected person like Mr. S. would attempt to enter such a dishonorable and physically challenging space immediately began to circulate strongly among the villagers. The significant disparity between the victim's social standing and the motive presented by the police became the root of the distrust surrounding this case. Many people harbored unshakable doubts and found it hard to accept the police's conclusion of an accidental death due to peeping. One of the most critical questions was how an adult male could have entered such a narrow septic tank on his own. The diameter of the cleanout port was only 36 centimeters, and the toilet bowl's opening was merely about 20 centimeters. In contrast, the average adult male's shoulder width is approximately 40 centimeters. From a physical standpoint, it's not an exaggeration to say that entering this narrow hole unassisted would be extremely difficult, if not impossible. Indeed, some individuals have attempted to conduct verifications under conditions similar to the incident. According to them, no matter what posture they tried, their shoulders, chest, or waist would get stuck, and they simply couldn't enter the tank on their own. Furthermore, several other unnatural points were noted at the crime scene. Ms. Ako's absence. Around February 26, the estimated date of death, Ms. Ako was away on an extended holiday. The elementary school was closed from February 24 to 27, and she had returned to her parents' home. This means Ms. Ako was not at her residence when the incident occurred. The possibility that Mr. S knew about Ms. Ako's absence has also been pointed out, which would clearly contradict the peeping motive. Placement of shoes. Mr. S's body was naked from the waist up, but for some reason, one of his shoes was found near the head of the body, while the other was discovered far away on a riverbank levee. Why would someone entering to peep take off their shoes, and furthermore, leave one of them at a distant location? This is highly unnatural and strongly suggests the involvement of a third party. Condition of Mr. S's car. Mr. S's car was found in a parking lot near the teacher's residence with the keys left in the ignition. Would someone ever leave their car with the keys in it? This implies that Mr. S had a special reason to leave his car in a hurry, or perhaps he was forcibly taken to the scene. Could it be one of these? These unnatural pieces of circumstantial evidence simply cannot be explained by the police's accidental death due to peeping theory. The discrepancy between Mr. S's character as a trusted and active young man in the community and such a dishonorable act was also a major reason why the villagers couldn't believe the police's explanation. Each of these contradictions undermined the credibility of the official view, and their accumulation led to strong doubts about the truth of the incident. In particular, the point that unassisted entry was physically nearly impossible strongly suggests the involvement of a third party, meaning Mr. S might have been forcibly placed in the septic tank. The fact that the body was naked from the waist up also leads to the speculation that his clothes were removed to force him into the narrow space. Doesn't this suggest the possibility of an intentional act rather than a mere accident? Among those who couldn't accept the police's official view, especially Mr. S's friends and villagers, several theories strongly circulated, suggesting that this incident was not a mere accident but some kind of murder case. From here, I'd like to introduce some of those theories whispered about. Theory 1. Connection to the village mayoral election. At the time of the incident, Mr. S's village was experiencing a rare, fiercely contested mayoral election. Rumors were rampant that large sums of money, so-called bribes, were being exchanged between both camps to secure votes. Initially, Mr. S had agreed to give a support speech for a specific candidate in this mayoral election, but there's information that he became disillusioned with the fraudulent nature of the election and stopped his support midway. From this, a viewpoint emerged that Mr. S might have unknowingly incurred resentment by becoming entangled in the power struggles and vested interests of the small village community. It's also suggested that he might have gotten into some kind of trouble for attempting to expose the illegality/corruption. This implies the possibility that power structures and hidden secrets within a small community lay behind the crime. Theory 2. Connection to a stalking incident. There is information that Ms. Ako, the female teacher whose house the incident occurred at, had been suffering from stalking previously and had consulted Mr. S about it. Mr. S reportedly had an idea of who the stalker was, and speculation arose that this person might be involved in the incident. This theory suggests that Mr. S was killed out of revenge for trying to intervene in Ms. Ako's stalking problem, or that the stalker themselves committed the crime to eliminate Mr. S. Theory 3. Connection to a nuclear power plant accident. At the nuclear power plant in the neighboring town where Mr. S worked, a component detachment accident had occurred just 1 month before the incident. Furthermore, it was revealed that Mr. S's senior colleague, who was responsible for this accident, subsequently attempted suicide by jumping in front of a train. Doubt has been cast on whether this senior colleague's death was truly a suicide, and there are also voices suspecting a larger organizational darkness, suggesting that Mr. S held some information regarding the nuclear plant's accident or irregularities, and was silenced to prevent him from exposing it. While these theories all lack concrete evidence and remain within the realm of speculation, they illustrate the incomprehensibility of the incident and the depth of distrust in the police's official explanation. The police, citing the lack of significant external injuries or signs of struggle on Mr. S's body, maintained their stance that Mr. S had entered the septic tank with the intent to peep, became trapped, and died. However, This official explanation was riddled with the numerous suspicious circumstances and physical contradictions mentioned earlier. Mr. S's friends, acquaintances, and father harbored strong suspicions about the police's conclusion of accidental death, given the circumstances of the discovery and Mr. S's character. They sought to uncover the truth and began a petition drive around late March 1989, about a month after the incident came to light. This movement spread within and outside the village, and by the end of April, just 1 month later, 4,300 signatures were collected and submitted to the police. This demonstrated how strongly the local community distrusted the police's investigation results. However, the police completely disregarded this request and refused to reopen the investigation, stating there was no criminal element. This stance by the police severely eroded public trust. Many people began to suspect that the police were not seriously trying to ascertain the truth of the incident and had quickly processed it as an accidental death, or that they were trying to conceal a criminal element for some reason. Even if it had been a murder case, the statute of limitations expired in 2004, meaning a legal investigation is no longer possible. Because the police continued to treat it as an accidental death and the statute of limitations expired, this incident remains unsolved, deeply etched in people's memories. The Fukushima toilet tank bizarre death incident remains an exceptional case, riddled with contradictions and questions, and continues to be recounted in Japan even today. This incident has become a symbol of distrust in police investigations and people's suspicion that the truth might have been buried in darkness. How do you interpret the Fukushima toilet tank bizarre death incident? What truth, if any, lies hidden behind this inexplicable death? Please feel free to share your thoughts in the comments section. Thank you for watching.